UFC 314, boys. It's finally here. It feels like a goddamn fever dream at this point because it's honestly arguably card of the year. It's fantastic from top to bottom, man. Yeah, there's some duds here and there, but there's a lot of really hard fights to predict. It's a really intriguing main event with our boy Volkanovski, man. He's back and he's headlining, and this is a great card. And today we're going to be going over my full card predictions for UFC 314 taking place in Miami. A lot of intriguing matchups on this card and a lot of hard ones to predict, so I'm excited to talk about it. And also, for those that watch this channel, you know, the only motherfucker I got a t-shirt for, right, is Volkanovski. It's not on right now. It's dirty. I would have loved to rep it for the video, but I'm lazy. All right. So just getting into this here with the first fight we got here, man. Tresean Gore taking on Marco Tulio. I'm going to be going with Tresean Gore. Okay, it's a risky fucking pick, because here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I'm not great at picking underdogs when they get past a certain point. I get that a lot of people aren't, okay? But it's like, some people have a sixth fucking sense with picking big underdogs, okay? But Tresean Gore is sitting at a plus 300 right now. I feel like the odds are just going to get bigger. But you know what? Even with just a 6-2 record, and he's taking out a guy in Tulio who has a lot of knockout power, a 13-1 record, very flashy, very pretty to have, right? And you could argue, I mean, he's going to have the striking advantage in this fight for Tulio. I'm talking about. He's gonna have the striking advantage. He's gonna have the power advantage. I feel like he's gonna have the overall pressure advantage. Like he puts on a very high pace and pressure on guys, you know, from the little that we've kind of seen of him from the UFC, you know, pretty solid amount of volume, man. On top of that, you know, the dude can crack. So it's gonna be dangerous for a guy like Gore who doesn't have a lot of experience. Like I said, only a 6-2 record. And if anything, Gore, man, like his submissions are the thing that make him fucking dangerous here. He's coming off of 2 back-to-back submission wins. If anything, well, they're standing guillotine wins, I believe. Maybe the first one wasn't a standing one, but from my recollection, man, he's got these 2 back-to-back subs, and it's a good part of Tresean Gore's game. Like, he seems defensively and offensively pretty fucking solid on the ground, man. So I think that Gore is going to have the overall grappling advantage here, you know, and even if it's a standing gill, you know, a little fucking surprise here and there, man. But Tresean Gore, it's risky because this is the guy that got knocked out by Cody fucking Brundage, of all people, who honestly isn't as bad as people think or say, but it's still, you know, you're getting knocked out by Cody Brundage in one fucking round. Now, granted, the thing that gives me hope here, okay, because hey, all the smoke, right? Uncle Smoke. Why the fuck would you pick Tresean Gore if he's getting knocked out by fucking Cody Brundage, and then you got Tulio who's knocking out everybody else left and right? So why the fuck are you picking Gore? The thing is, man, I feel like that Cody Brundage fight, I mean, obviously that was, you know, 3 years ago, and Gore got a win after that, but it's like, he took a 2-year break, looked great in his last performance, and I get that the win over Tricoli, that's who he fought, you know, the big bad Mackenzie Durnex, but it's like, I get that that's not the greatest level of competition, but he got him out of there really fucking quick. He looked great while it lasted, and he's making kind of, you know, a solid 5-month turnaround, 6-month whatever the fuck, he's making a solid turnaround. And with these fighters, man, who kind of go away for a little bit, and they kind of, you know, they change some things up, they're saying they're gonna come back better and better, you know, they take the couple years off, they either come back and they're gonna be a fucking marauder, and they're gonna go and be a Charles Oliveira-esque run, they're gonna go on some crazy shit, or they're just gonna stay the same fighter and they're gonna have that wall and they're gonna lose, and the time off, you know, it didn't really help them as much as I or they might fucking think, or whatever the hell. So it's risky with these kinds of situations, especially looking at the betting odds, like I said. But dude, I think Gore is just going to be able to survive the storm, hopefully, that, you know, Tulio is going to bring towards him towards that first round or two. And if he's able to do that, man, I think that he's going to be able to, you know, take Tulio into some deeper waters and then hopefully maybe take him out via sub or win some kind of decision here. Again, it's a pick I'm not very fucking confident on, but I'm going to be trusting in the improvements and developments from Gore, you know, and I could see why Tulio is a big favorite here. You know, he's got a lot of power and he's gonna, you know, 13-1 record. It's flashy and it's pretty, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be going with Gore here. So moving on up next now, man, to Sumudaerji taking on Mitch Raposo. I'm gonna be going with Sumudaerji here, man. I feel like Raposo is just, he's not one of those guys who has anything great in the arsenal. You know, he's 0-1 in the UFC and he lost his fucking debut in the Contender Series by submission. So it's just like, he's just kind of here right now, like a 0-1 or 0-2, however you want to value the Contender Series in the UFC, and he's a guy who, he's young, yes, he's only like 26 or 27 or some shit like that, but at the end of the day, nothing crazy in the skill set, and he's lost both of his UFC appearances, you know what I mean? Say whatever you want about the last split decision or whatever, but Sumudaerji's coming off of a split decision loss himself, but it's to Charles Johnson, a guy who, you know, ranked and was looking great last year, and he kind of capped it off, I believe, with the Sumudaerji win. I'm pretty sure that's the last one he got at 2024. Now, granted, say whatever you want about Charles Johnson's skill set, but I rate him fairly highly, man, fairly solidly for the flyweight division. I know he's very beatable, but at the end of the fucking day, man, he's a good striker who can bring it. And Sumudaerji, some people thought Sumudaerji won the fight. A lot of people I remember were kind of arguing that Sumudaerji got robbed, man, and people forget, man, but I think Sumudaerji, man, you know, he's able to fucking hang in there. I think that he's gonna be able to piece up Raposo, and I don't know how he gets him out of there, but I'm going to be trusting the odds makers on this one. I'm going to be trusting in the skill set of Sumudaerji. I know Sumudaerji's not the most active fighter. He doesn't have the craziest skill set or anything like that, but I think he looked good in that Charles Johnson fight, and I think that this is definitely a step down in competition, so if he's able to look that good against Johnson, and if that same version of him shows up, or an even better one, I think that it's pretty safe to say that he could take this one. Raposo is just very green and, has had a pretty rough start to the UFC, so we'll fucking see, man. So moving on up next now to Sedriques Dumas taking on Michal Oleksiejczuk. I'm going to go with Michal Oleksiejczuk, okay? Fairly confident in this one. Now, don't get me wrong, I can totally see Dumas taking a win here, but I just haven't really been impressed by a lot of the things I've been seeing from him lately. Like, he is beatable, he is hittable, and he's becoming a decision merchant. And like, his striking is pretty solid, but I just don't think he has like the crazy amount of power or crazy cardio or pace that he puts on. He doesn't really drown you on the feet, but he doesn't have the knockout power to take your lights out for everybody. So he's just kind of there, and he's kind of been pitter-pattering a little bit to a decision. Hasn't been putting on great fights or anything like that. Like I said, he had some hype when he was kind of coming in the UFC, and people were kind of starting to recognize him, but it's just now I feel like he's just kind of been losing the momentum, even though he's not really losing all of his fights. He's just kind of been, not doing anything crazy, and he is, like I said, he's not winning all of these fights. It's not like he's just going out there and he's on some crazy win streak and he's just doing it in, a little bit of a lackluster fashion. He's like winning a fight or two, and then he's losing, and then he's winning a fight or two. So I don't fucking know, man. So Sedriques Dumas, man, solid on the feet, but I just think Michal Oleksiejczuk, you want to talk about guys with underrated fucking striking. I think Oleksiejczuk is that, bro. Like, he took Shara Bullet to a pretty fucking competitive fight. I know that Shara kind of clearly won the fight. I don't think anyone was screaming a robbery for Oleksiejczuk, but Oleksiejczuk was pretty in it from the start to the finish, man. And like, he's able to crack. He knocked down Kevin Holland, who Kevin Holland has a pretty solid chin. Oleksiejczuk is a guy who this, I feel like, is a winnable fight for him. I feel like he can lose to a lot of those guys and more so like the upper or mid echelon of the division, even guys outside the rankings. But I think Dumas is a winnable matchup for him, and I think there's a reason why he's, the minus 190 favorite that he is. At least that's what I'm looking at on my screen right now. I don't think Dumas is going to be, drowning him. I don't think he's going to be landing a bunch of power shots. I don't think he's going to be making Oleksiejczuk regret his fucking life decisions to be in the cage with him. But I think Oleksiejczuk, he has the power advantage here. I think he's just going to be able to bring a storm towards Dumas, and I think he's going to win via some kind of knockout or a unanimous decision. That's what I'm feeling for Oleksiejczuk here. I'm not saying that he's a crazy talent or anything like that, but I feel like pretty underrated, honestly, in terms of the striking and the power. And I don't think Oleksiejczuk's going to beat a lot of ranked guys. Like, the guy got submitted by Kevin Holland inside a couple minutes. You know what I mean? But I still think that he's dangerous enough and solid enough of, to where he's going to be able to beat a guy like Dumas. So moving on up next now to open up the prelims here, Darren Elkins taking on Julian Erosa here. And I'm going to be going with Erosa, okay? This is, I feel like, more so one of the safer bets of the card. I mean, knock on fucking wood, but Erosa's coming off of the win over goddamn Christian Rodriguez, who it's fucking impossible to predict a Christian Rodriguez fight. Depends on if he's fighting a prospect or whatever the goddamn fuck. But at the end of the day, Erosa went out there, and I'm pretty sure he got a submission win in like the first or second round. So he looked good in that scrap. And against a guy like Darren Elkins, who, I should talk about the experience of both of these guys. I mean, Elkins is obviously, the much like older fighter here, but both these guys combined have nearly 100 combined pro fights. Like, these guys have so much fucking experience. And the thing that's different here is that Elkins, he's 40 years old. Like, he's near the tail end of his career. You're kind of at the point where even though he gets a couple of wins here and there, and he's not completely washed or anything like that, there's nothing really crazy about Elkins right now, man, other than having the best chest tattoo that the UFC's ever fucking seen. But I don't know, man. He just has so much experience. He's taking a lot of damage, and I know you could say the same about Erosa, but I think Erosa is just, he's going to look quicker in there. I think he's coming off a little bit more momentum. I think it's just he's more so in it right now, in the game, and not on the latter end of it. Well, he is on the latter end of his career, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like the grand fucking finale like Elkins. So Darren Elkins, man, solid big old vet to have for the division, but I feel like he's kind of just very on his way out of here, and I think that Julian Erosa is going to be able to take the win here, maybe via unanimous decision or some kind of submission. I don't fucking know. So, and like, don't get me wrong, I understand that Elkins, I'm making him seem like he's completely fucking just done for in this fight. Like, I'm not saying that. Like I said, like, he's not completely washed. He's on a win streak right now. You know what I'm saying? So he's in it. I just think Erosa, he's going to have the size advantage. He's just going to have the age. He's just going to look sharper in there. I feel like I'm more impressed with his submission wins as of late comparatively to the wins I've been seeing from Elkins. So both these guys, so much experience here. I'm going to be going with the long and fucking lengthy Julian Erosa. So Even though he fucked up my parlay because I had Christian Rodriguez in the bullshit. I'm pretty sure that's the only one I missed from it too. So Erosa can fuck off for ruining that. But other than that, well, let's hope he wins now because now he's going to be on my parlay for this one. I'm trying to learn my fucking mistakes here. So moving on, up next now, man, to Jim Miller taking on Chase Hooper. The dream, baby. Now, I don't know if I'm tripping, y'all, but am I the only one where Chase Hooper's been really fucking growing on me lately? Like, I understand he's kind of been one of those guys, around the UFC for a solidly decent amount of time, but he came in so fucking young. It's just one of those situations you see with Raul Rosas Jr., Song Yadong, shit like that. But Chase Hooper kind of was that. And when he first came in, man, just all the Ben Askren, all the smoke lookalike, all the allegations and all that bullshit. But dude, I feel like the losses and have just taught him a lot, man. Like, he's been looking fucking great. I understand he's not beating the craziest competition in the world, but dude, this guy's on a 4-5 win streak and he's just putting on, like, every performance. He's slightly stepping up in competition or staying around the same place, but he's looking better and better. He's getting more and more dominant. Like, Chase Hooper's submission ability, man, and just his takedown entries, his ground game in general, the jiu-jitsu fucking base of Chase Hooper is dangerous, man. A lot of people are saying this is the white Charles Oliveira, and dude, that's kind of fucking, I could see why people are saying that, coming in the UFC pretty young, getting a couple of losses, but then, you have a kid or two and now you're the jiu-jitsu god and now you're on a crazy win streak. That's what Chase Hooper's kind of becoming, okay? I would love for that to be the next generation's Charles Oliveira, bro. And imagine you see Chase Hooper, he's all fucking tatted up head to toe and shit. We're starting to call this motherfucker the Lion, but at the end of the day, Chase Hooper genuinely has been really impressing me, man. Like, the domination on the ground and pound over Jordan Levitt, over Borshev, over Clay Guida. Like I said, it's not the craziest competition in the world, but it's solid, man. Like, these are solid fucking wins that are, and solid names that are kind of lingering outside the rankings at lightweight. So, or guys that have just been around for a fucking while, you know what I mean? And that kind of leads me to Jim Miller, who has been around for a fucking while. The dude's got over 50 pro fights, which is insane because a lot of people, when this matchup first got announced, are like, oh, we're just doing the youngest motherfucker on the roster versus the oldest. We got the unk and the nephew here, man. I mean, literally, I think Jim Miller could be Chase Hooper's fucking father. All right, that's the age fucking gap we're talking about here. But man, Jim Miller's coming off of a win over Damon Jackson, I believe it was. I wanted to say fucking Darren Elkins there, but I believe it was over Damon Jackson at UFC 309. He looked good, man. Round one submission there. Jim Miller is one of those fucking guys, man, where he is very beatable. He is very hittable. But at the end of the day, dude, even with the old age, even though he's so active, even though he's taking a lot of damage, the dude remains relatively active. He takes on a lot of motherfuckers. Does not pick and choose fights, really, man. He's taking on anybody here. And he's still winning. Those are the three things that make Jim Miller so impressive, especially at this old age, man. Like, and also he's solidly well-rounded. Like, Miller's, like I said, he got a fucking submission win. And a lot of people were saying, me included, that Jackson had the slight grappling advantage in that one. You know what I mean? So for Miller to go out there and do that, man, like, I understand that Jackson retired right fucking after, you know what I mean? But Miller is still beating guys who, even if they're young, man, like, he's kind of in the situation where, he goes and he wins a couple of fights and then he loses a fight or two and then he goes back and he wins. And it's like, that's what Jim Miller's been doing, man. And it's just like, I respect the activity. I respect that he's taking on everybody. I respect that he's just here to fucking fight despite the age. And again, man, the guy is solid. Like, Jim Miller can take a fucking shot, man, and he knows how to bring it as well. Like, solid on the feet, solid grappling base, solid cardio, solid fight IQ. Like, Jim Miller's kind of got it everywhere, I think, with the age and just, the state of the career and how good the division is and how great Hooper's been looking. Like, I think it really is a father time thing here, but just Chase Hooper, man, just in general, just looks like the sharper, just kind of better fighter here. And I think he is the biggest betting favorite on the card, Chase Hooper. So I feel like, I don't even think I said this out loud yet, but if I haven't made it fucking clear, like, I'm going with Chase Hooper here. I just think the striking has been improving a lot for Chase Hooper. Like, I think that, there's been a bit more pop behind the shots. Like I said, with the ground and pound as well, like, we've been seeing great improvements there. Just completely set some kind of significant strike record on the ground against Borshev last year. So Hooper, man, a great win streak, gaining a lot of momentum. I think Miller is just kind of be that next step. It technically is the toughest opponent he's fought to date, but that says a lot about where Hooper's at. The fact that he's a minus 650 favorite and it's going to keep going up, and this is the hardest test technically of his career. So Hooper, man, I really think, having the kid, really dialing in, really kind of getting experience like that, really kind of just learning a lot from the losses he had early in the UFC. I think it's doing fucking wonders for his career. And I'm telling you, man, Chase Hooper, say whatever the fuck you want, but I think it's a really good prospect to invest in. I really do think this guy's going to be ranked relatively soon, man. If he keeps getting wins like this, especially, like, don't be fooled by the appearance and all the bullshit or whatever. Like, and honestly, the guy's balls have dropped again. Like, he's kind of fitting a lot more into the mold of lightweight. Like, I'm pretty sure I just heard an interview he did like a week ago ago, and he said he walks around in like the 190s or something. So Hooper is really kind of fitting into his mold. That's a massive fucking weight cut if that really is true, but he's really just developed into the body here. He's really just coming into his own. I mean, the dude's like 25 or 26, so he's about to hit his fucking prime. And when you keep all that in account, mixed with just the motivation he has right now, you know, the dude's on a fucking mission. He's hungry. He wants to get in the rankings. The ground game is dangerous. The striking's had massive improvements. And I just think Chase Hooper is going to be a prospect that a lot of people should be talking about in the next couple of years. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to stand my base here on this. So respect to Jim Miller, my Ben Askren throw. I tip my hat to him, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be going with Chase Hooper here. Moving on up next now, man, to the featured prelim. We got Dan Ige taking on Sean Woodson. I really didn't even have a pick until a fucking hour ago. I've been going back and forth on this fight a little bit. Whenever it gets thought up in my head, I'm like, dude, who the fuck am I going to go with? Because it's a hard one to call, man. I think, like I said, the betting odds are an indicator of that. It's a pick'em fight. At least from what I'm looking at on my screen right now, it is a pick'em fight, but depends on the source. I see some other kind of sports books have Woodson as a slight favorite. So we'll just call Ige the underdog, okay? Pretty sure that's what he will be anyways here when the actual fight goes down. But I'm going to be going with Dan Ige. Okay, I'm going to be going with Ige as my pick here. Like, I was kind of, like I said, I was going back and forth. I think that Woodson, you know, great win streak right now, and I'm pretty sure he's only lost once ever. You know, he's got like a 13-1 record, you know, pretty much won every fight besides that one in the UFC. So Sean Woodson, man, very long, rangy. The dude is tall as fuck for the division. He's 6'2" for the featherweight division, and Ige's coming in at like 5'7", so it's just, Woodson's going to have a massive height advantage here, a massive reach advantage here. They're around the same age, you know. I think that people think Ige is kind of, you know, people forget, man, but people think that Ige is officially like unk status, and he kind of is, but Woodson's around the same fucking age, man. It's crazy that the guy used to be a goddamn heavyweight or some shit like that, but now, you know, the fact he's able to make this weight come in, I understand that he's pretty, you know, slenderman for the division, like he's very long and lengthy, but more so on like the skinnier end, he looks like just a really buff as fuck cross-country runner, but at the end of the day, the height and the reach, as long as the dude's able to make the weight safely and he can keep on fucking doing it, man, this is dangerous for a lot of guys in the division. Like, you know, you would think that there's the argument, you know, it'd be easier for takedown entries, especially for shorter guys because Woodson's so tall, but dude, a lot of shorter opponents have struggled with Woodson. I think that's a, you know, not a big reason why he's beating them. I think Woodson is a pretty fucking good striker who's got solid pop behind the shots, you know, but I don't think it's just all on the size advantage. I don't think that's just why he's beating all these guys, but dude, it's definitely fucking part of it, man. Like, these shorter guys or these stockier guys, man, they have a rough time going against Woodson. It's just, you're literally just looking the fuck up, you know what I mean? Especially with a guy like Ige who's 5'7", you know what I mean? It's going to be a really big height differential in this one, and usually that doesn't bode well for the shorter fighters here. But again, could be easier to get the takedown entries in, some shit like that. Who the fuck knows how Ige is going to handle that, but I don't know, man. I think Sean Woodson, he's a bit of a sniper, you know, kind of. Woodson's going to be a dangerous striker for a lot of guys in the division. But Ige, man, it's just, he's one of those guys where he is a bit of a gatekeeper here, man. And with a record of 18-9, you look at that and you think, oh, like, this guy fucking sucks, you know what I mean? But I think Ige's, you know, I wouldn't call him like underrated, but he kind of is at the same time. Like, I think the dude is solidly well-rounded. Like, clearly he's going to want to keep his fights on the feet, you know. He's got power, got solid fucking striking. He was able to hold his own against Diego Lopes. He was able to hold his own against Lerone Murphy, bruv. The 800-year-old prospect, bruv. But dude, Ige is like making it competitive against Lerone Murphy and Diego Lopes and other guys who like are pretty fucking good for the division, man. I mean, featherweight's one of the best divisions we got, but at the end of it, like, the fact that he's making it competitive against these guys who are young, upcoming prospects, and he's, like I said, he's taking rounds off of them. And like everybody else, like, obviously I really fucking respect the hell out of that UFC 303, just the whole situation, like I said. So Ige, I feel like it's a lot more like dangerous than people give him credit for. Like, I feel like he's able to really hold his own against a lot of the elite, and like I said, when he's losing, he's not really getting fucked up that bad a lot of the time. So I think he's gonna be clinging on to that spot in the rankings here, because if Ige loses, he could have a risk of getting kicked out of the rankings. I think he's kind of holding on to that like 14 or 15 spot, something like that. So Ige, man, I think he's going to be able to beat Woodson. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. Like, I think that Ige, like I said, primarily a striker, and he's got power, but I think that he's going to want to be more comfortable on the feet. Yeah, he knows how to shoot a takedown, and yeah, he's solid defensively on the ground, you know what I mean? But, I mean, Sean Woodson, don't get me wrong, like, he has pretty good takedown defense, you know, especially considering the size and all that shit, but, and, you know, he knows how to get a takedown. Like, we've seen it. It's some performances we don't see him shoot at all, and some we see him kind of, you know, do a couple more than others, but at the end of the day, Woodson, I feel like it's just, I would say, isn't as just quite well-rounded as Ige, or, you know, has as much experience as Ige, shit like that, but I think Ige is just going to be able to hang the fuck in there, and if he's looking that good against other guys, I think that this is going to be a fight that Ige wins, you know what I mean? Like, Ige's not just going to lose every fucking fight. Like, there's situations divisions where there really are fighters who lose to the upper echelon of the division or top ranked guys, but they are just, they're able to beat everybody else. I think Ige is going to be that. I think he's going to show in this fight why he fucking belongs. And don't get me wrong, Woodson's good striker to have. Interesting build for the division, but I just think that Ige is going to be too much. I think he's going to put in a heavy pace and pressure. I think he's going to have the advantage on the ground, and I think that Ige is just going to be able to hold his own on the feet enough to where I see not a knockout, but I see a decision here for Dan Ige. So, should be a good scrap though, man. I'm excited for it. It's really fucking hard to predict. So, moving on up next now to open up the main card. Nikita Krylov versus Dominick Reyes. Dude, the odds makers have respect on Reyes. Like, if you asked me what I thought Reyes was going to be as an underdog, I would have said like plus 300. I'm not trying to shit on Reyes. But dude, I just thought that Krylov was going to be a bigger favorite going into this. But dude, people are putting respect on Reyes, man. I'm curious what the fan poll I put up is going to be too. Y'all see it on your fucking screen. But people have respect on Reyes. And I don't even think it's just a thing where it's just because you like him. Like, obviously, we were all rooting for Reyes last year to get that fucking, the comeback of a lifetime. Maybe, yeah, him and Piotr Jan, dude. We were rooting for them so fucking hard to bring it back, but they did. But you gotta question, is there gonna be a wall with that? Because yeah, Reyes went 2-0 last year, and we love to see it. We love to put that shit in the script. But at the end of the day, like, is there gonna be a wall? Because yes, this is the same guy that beat John Jones, but at the end of the day, man, it's just a different fighter, I feel like, nowadays. Like, Reyes, man, I don't know. My pick for this fight, y'all, it's gonna be Nikita Krylov. Like, I'm glad that people were going with Reyes. I'm glad that the odds makers put respect on him. And I definitely can see Reyes winning this fight, But I think that Krylov, man, especially with the time off that he's had, I'm pretty sure Krylov hasn't fought in like a year or two. Tried to fight against Azamat Murzakanov at UFC 309, but, that fight didn't end up going down, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, Krylov's back now, and he's a guy with a lot of fucking experience, even though he hasn't fought in the last couple of years. Like, he still has a lot of experience. He's fucking well-rounded. He's powerful on the feet with good striking, but he's got a really good wrestling base as well. And it's like, Krylov is dangerous. And he's got underrated finishing ability. I think he's underratedly kind of entertaining. A lot of people just people forget, man, but a lot of people just kind of forget that Krylov is even fucking in the rankings, or forget he's even existing in the light heavyweight division. But I think that a win over Reyes, or just being a little bit more active this year, getting a couple of fights in, like, is gonna put him back on the map. And I'm not saying this guy's gonna get like a title shot or some shit like that by early 2026, but I think a win over Reyes would be a nice start, man. I think Krylov is just going to be too much for him. Now, don't get me wrong, Dominick Reyes has good takedown defense, so I think that this is probably going to play out a lot more on the feet than Krylov just kind of spamming takedowns or really trying to be adamant to take it to the ground. I don't think it's going to be that, because Reyes, man, just like I said, solid defensive grappling and solid takedown defense. So that's a big reason why John Jones wasn't really fucking shooting him, or was unsuccessful in that fight, and why that ended up playing mostly on the feet. You know what I mean? I think that Reyes is just good defensively with the grappling, and I think that Krylov is, gonna probably attempt a couple of takedowns, but if he's not getting shit with it, I think that he's comfortable enough on the feet and trusts enough in his striking and his power to where he's fine playing out against Reyes with that. So I think that if it does play into a striking battle, obviously that's gonna be a lot more, in Reyes' ballpark. He's not really the type to shoot a bunch or whatever the fuck, but Reyes, man, I don't know, it's so hard to fucking predict, because it's just like that losing streak that he went on, you have to question, is there a wall with Dominick Reyes? Is he never gonna get up to that upper echelon of the division? Is he just gonna kind of, be able to get wins? And we love that for him, but is there a wall for him? We don't fucking know, man. This is the guy that beat John Jones, and we have no fucking idea if he's gonna be able to get past Krylov. It's insane the timeline we're in. But Krylov, man, I just think a very underrated fighter who people don't really give enough respect to. But granted, I understand that, the inactivity is a real fucking thing, so I'm not really going around and fucking town to town and praising the goddamn Krylov hype train. But I just think that this is gonna be a win for him here, man. Some kind of finish, I don't know, fucking maybe some kind of KO or TKO, or maybe a decision. I don't fucking know. I feel like I've been predicting a lot of decisions here. I hope I'm fucking wrong with that, but both these guys have the power to finish it on the feet, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Reyes is striking, I don't rate the Anthony Smith win that great, considering just everything about that fucking fight. Anthony Smith at the very, very end of his career, and obviously the situation with his coach passing the fucking day of or some shit like that, or it was some crazy shit. But I don't know, man. Like, I still think it's a solid win, especially with where Reyes is at in his career right now. But I don't know, man. Like, Reyes, I don't know, man. He's hittable. He's knockoutable. He's finishable. I don't know. Reyes is solid. I think he's got good striking, solid takedown defense, but I think that Krylov is just going to be too much for him, and I think he's going to be hungrier to kind of just prove something because he's been out for so long, you know what I mean? Kind of making a statement, especially since, Carlos Prats versus Jeff Neal is out, so this is the main card fucking opener, so I feel like maybe more inclined to get a finish here for Reyes or Krylov, so I don't know. I'm rooting for Reyes. I hope Reyes wins. Reyes' striking is good enough, and he's powerful enough, to where I could see a TKO coming from him, but I don't know. I just think Krylov's going to be too much, kind of a bit everywhere here, but we'll fucking see. So moving on, up next now, man, to Yair Rodriguez taking on Patricio Pitbull. Thank God that they put this fight back on the main card. There was like a couple of weeks where it was supposed to be the feature prelim. Nah, dude, I feel like that, listen, I don't think a Pitbull debut in the UFC is going to get like a crazy amount of hype or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be as much, especially considering that he's on the, latter end of his career, man. He's 37 years old, and who knows how many fights he is even going to have in the UFC if he fucking wins. But like, even when we saw at the press conference, like, Pitbull really didn't generate a lot of hype, or I'm pretty sure he got like the softest pop, if any. I think the hardcores are going to be really excited for this one. I mean, I'm fucking hyped for it just purely because, like, stylistically, I think it's a fun fight. But I'm going to be going with Yair Rodriguez here, man. You think that these fucking Bellator fights, man, like Chandler, the B tier promotion, get in the back, kid. You're dealing with the big leagues now, and he knocks out Hooker in a round. Oh, MVP's taking on the big bad Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, he doesn't try all the time, but this is the UFC. There's levels to this. He's going to knock out MVP. And then he fucking completely makes a fool out of Kevin Holland on the feet. And now, you have Patricio Pitbull, who's kind of like the third big Bellator, like, transitioning over, and it's just like, I don't even know how to word this, dude. I just fucking sat in silence for like 30 seconds trying to figure out how to word this. Pitbull is like solidly well-rounded. He's a lot more comfortable, I feel like, on the feet than taking fights to the ground, but he's solid down there, but I feel like he likes to kind of keep the fight on the striking department. And the dude has good striking, solid pop behind his shots. The dude can rack up some fucking knockouts, and I think with all the experience he has and everything that he's done, even if it is just fucking Bellator, I still think that's pretty fucking impressive. But there's things that stand out to me here, man, where I'm fucking confident picking Yair Rodriguez, man. I mean, and one being the age, like, that's the top for me. If this was Pitbull, if Rodriguez was the same age and at the point he is in his career now, and he's taking on Pitbull from like a couple of years ago, I could be going with Pitbull here. I could totally see that, but I don't know, man. Like, Pitbull's a guy who doesn't throw a lot of volume on the feet, and I think you kind of need that going against Rodriguez. Like, I think that's why guys like Volkanovski and Holloway are able to beat him, and you got Ortega as well, and I just think to beat Rodriguez, you either need to have the volume on the feet or the pace on the feet to be able to match his, because Rodriguez just fucking throws to the fucking wind. He's a very dynamic, fun, very quick kickboxer who's just fucking dangerous, man. And he has such fluid moments. He's hard to predict. He's hard to guess. Rodriguez is just a fucking puzzle in there, man. And he's powerful as well. Very fun striking to watch. And I just think that against a guy like Pitbull, I think to beat Rodriguez, I understand the guy's not that active, and I understand that he is beatable, but he's not losing to just fucking everybody. He's really only losing to the very, very kind of like elite of the division. Like I'm saying, Brian Ortega, say whatever you want about him now, but Brian Ortega, Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, like, these are the guys that are beating Yair Rodriguez, and I don't think that Pitbull is just gonna be on that level, man, especially the fact that we're not seeing the best version of Pitbull. We're just fucking not. In this fight, we could arguably see the best version of Yair Rodriguez we've ever seen. He's in his fucking prime, and we could see one of the worst versions of Pitbull we've ever seen. Now, granted, he's stepping up to the UFC, a big debut. We've probably been looking forward to this for a long time, so I'm sure he's gonna be very ready for this fight. But I think to beat Rodriguez, man, you either have to have, like I said, the volume with the striking, or just to match his pace to be able to beat him. That's how Volkanovski was able to take him out of there via fucking TKO of all things, ground and pound, I get it, but, or if you just have good fucking elite grappling, like Ortega, I don't think he's the craziest fighter in the world or anything like that. Like, I don't think he deserves to be in the fucking top 5, especially right now, but at the end of the day, I think Ortega's got some dangerous fucking grappling, man. I just think that Rodriguez was able to knock him down twice and completely made a fucking fool of him in the first round, and then, Ortega made the comeback, looked great with the grappling, was able to just endure whatever Rodriguez was throwing at him, but Ortega's got a monster fucking chin, man, and it's just like, this shit, you just need shit like this, man. You need a good chin. Even if Rodriguez is able to fucking land some on you, you need to be able to fucking take it, because like I said earlier, he's fucking powerful, and the fluidity of his movements and everything like that, like, it's dangerous, man. You gotta have some of these factors if you're gonna be able to beat Rodriguez, and like I said, Pitbull is just solidly well-rounded, has a lot of experience, made it to the highest of highs for Bellator, and say whatever you want about that, but it's fucking something. Don't get me wrong, I think Pitbull's gonna be able to beat some of the guys in the UFC rankings, and I don't think Yair Rodriguez is like the craziest talent we've ever seen, but I think that the dude is underrated, and I think that this is a winnable matchup for him. Like, Pitbull is hittable, he doesn't throw a lot of output, the grappling isn't gonna be his first fucking thing he's gonna be all excited to go for here. And I feel like Rodriguez, man, he fights once a year, which is a double-edged sword because, he fights once a year. He's fucking inactive, a little bit clinging on to that spot in the rankings. But also, you kind of know when he does show up that you're going to arguably see the best version of him because you don't see him fight a lot. So when he does, he better be fucking prepared. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's going to happen here. I think Rodriguez is just going to be too much, man. He's a fucking sick kickboxer who's just going to throw a lot at Pitbull, I feel like. And I see a second round KO coming from Rodriguez here or some kind of unanimous decision. I could see Pitbull winning. Like I said, the Bellator guys in these situations are already 2-0, so I could see it being another one, but I'm going to be going Rodriguez here. Moving on up next, man, to the featured fight of this card. Bryce Mitchell, baby, taking on Gene Silva. Dude, motherfucker, bro. I actually don't have a pick for this fight yet. Y'all, I literally, I had Gene Silva, for the kind of a few weeks out, but I was kind of just questioning, why Mitchell is such a massive underdog. I've been thinking about this fight so much today because I knew I was going to have to make this predictions video. I literally don't, I just need to talk out loud about this before I make a pick. The betting odds, bro, and they bother me too, okay? The reason why I'm not just picking Bryce Mitchell right now is because I'm bad at, like I said with the Tresean Gore pick early in the video, I'm bad at picking underdogs when it gets to that over plus 200 point. I'm notoriously fucking bad at it. I'm pretty solid at picking the dogs that are kind of reasonable, but I have a limit, all right? I'm going to be honest. So that fucking concerns me, all right? I went 0-15, all right? I'm there's a better chance of a 35-year-old winning the belt under 170 than me getting a fucking underdog, a solid underdog pick right. You know what I mean? And Bryce Mitchell, man, these odds are fucking insane and it has me tripping because I really want to pick Bryce, but it's just there's a reason why Silva is a massive favorite. There's a reason why the Uncle Dana's all pissed at Bryce Mitchell and they made it seem like they're going to fucking punish him damn near. And they gave him Silva. The UFC with these matchups, man, are people they're trying to build up and shit like that, or people they're trying to punish. Usually they're very good at picking the right calculations. They got that golden fucking calculator on how to fuck over Bryce Mitchell. I just don't know if it's going to work here, man. And first of all, I just want to say that this is a fantastic fucking fight. It's one of the best fights on the card here, man. It's a genuine fucking grudge match we got going on here. And with all the shit with Bryce Mitchell, man, it makes this fight really fucking intriguing. This is a situation where if this guy gets the mic, are they even gonna let him talk? Or are they even gonna are they just gonna shoo him out of there if he even wins? What is the state of everything? And if he's the first guy to shut down the hype of the 4 horsemen of the fighting nerds, that'd be fucking crazy. So the storyline and everything going into this shit, it's great to have on the card. But dude, oh my fucking god, man. Let me just explain to y'all the reasonings, okay? I'm gonna talk out loud with this logic and hopefully I break this down. The reasons why I want to go with Bryce Mitchell, okay? Dude, I understand people have been saying this, but Charles Jourdain was able to take down Gene Silva a couple of times, and Charles Jourdain is not only kind of just a mid-fighter relatively to a lot of guys in the UFC, but he's a fucking striker, and if he's able to efficiently get down Gene Silva 2 or 3 times, and Silva just kind of looked goofy there, man, was not really great in the defensive wrestling, and Charles Jourdain, he didn't really do too much with the takedowns that he got, but Silva at the end of the day, man, Bryce Mitchell is just such a higher caliber level of wrestler than fucking Charles Jourdain. On top of the fact that Bryce Mitchell was able to get down Ilia Topuria, I understand he's been looking fantastic with the boxing and the striking in his past couple of fights and his past couple of performances, but dude, he has great grappling and he has great wrestling just in his back pocket. He has great submission ability. So for Bryce, I understand that he got subbed in that fight and he fucking lost and he got, kind of smoked going in that second round, but if you're able to take down Topuria, that's not a fucking easy feat to do, man. And against a guy like Gene Silva, who very fucking powerful on the feet, you know what I mean? But also, it's just it just kind of happens. I feel like that's the thing with these Gene Silva KOs. The Drew Dober fight, that was a good back and forth war, but I feel like before that, we were kind of just seeing Gene Silva, he's very playful in there. He laughs and he's smiling and he's congratulating the guys if they land a nice shot. I think with how pissed Bryce Mitchell is and with how good the wrestling is compared to other opponents that Silva has fought, I think that's fucking dangerous for Silva, man, because if Bryce picks you up and puts you fucking down, especially now that you pissed him out, you're barking up the wrong tree, motherfucker. If you try and piss him off, get him all amped up and you're trying to light the fire, he's gonna have urgency to get you down and to get the finish, and those are 2 dangerous fucking aspects going against G Silva. Now granted, if Mitchell, I think he's solid enough on the feet to where he's comfortable to kind of play it out with Gene Silva, but I think Mitchell, with how pissed he is and with how much of a statement he wants to prove and with how, I don't think Bryce Mitchell has crazy submission ability. Like, I think he's got good wrestling, but I don't think it's like, he doesn't have great finishing ability, you know what I mean? So I don't think he's just going to go out there and, oh, he's just going to go smoke Silva in a round. Silva can't hang on the ground. It's not that. It's just seeing how Silva has done with grappling. We just haven't seen a lot of it, and what we have seen, don't get me wrong, looks solid in the clinch and looks solid against takedown or attempts against Dober, I believe, but at the end of the day, dude, I don't fucking know, man. Like, when Bryce wants to flip it on and just activate that urgency, we saw it, I understand the win over Kron Gracie, okay? It isn't the greatest caliber of opponent. A lot of people were shitting on that fight, but at the end of the day, that's a guy who he was able to not only just fuck up and dominate on the ground for the entire fight, okay? And that's a guy who is a pure grappler. That's the only thing Kron Gracie has, all right? There is no striking, there is no fight IQ, there is no cardio, there is no power. It's grappling with Kron Gracie, and Bryce Mitchell showed fucking levels to that and got a brutal fucking ground and pound TKO, I believe, in that third round. Dude, if Bryce Mitchell is able to do that to a guy who trains his whole fucking life for grappling, okay? I understand that MMA grappling is different, but it's just Gene Silva is giving me reasons to be concerned here with the takedown defense and with just how he looked against Jourdain and other opponents. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't think Bryce Mitchell's the craziest fucking talent in the world or anything like that. I don't think he's even the best wrestler or best grappler in the division. I don't even think he's in the top 3 best wrestlers in the division. But at the end of the, I think Sterling, I think Evloev, I think there's better guys than him in that department. But dude, Mitchell is just comparatively to Silva. You gotta think Silva's a guy who, dude, it just fucking worries me that he's all playful and shit in there too, because if he's taking that attitude going against Bryce, who's looking to literally try and murder him in there, and just, I feel like Bryce is literally just gonna be fucking just so hungry to just shoot for the takedown because he knows that that's where Silva's gonna be weak, especially if he has a lot of animosity, a lot of aggression that he brings on the ground, I think that Mitchell, like I said earlier, he doesn't have great submission entries or great finishing ability, but dude, I think that, like I saw in the Kron Gracie fight, when he wants to turn it on, he could fucking turn it on, man. And against a guy like Silva, who being on the ground isn't his forte, I just think that if Mitchell is just solely set on looking for the finish, being hungry as fuck to take out Silva, man, I really do think he could be able to get this done via some kind of submission, maybe some kind of ground and pound, I don't fucking know, maybe even a decision if he just smudges him. But dude, what if Silva, like if Bryce is all pissed, Bryce is all angry, Bryce is this, and Silva doesn't have that matching energy and he thinks it's a bit of a game and it's just kind of relying on playing it out on the feet or relying on cracking him with the right shot, then dude, that fucking concerns me. These are my concerns, and this is why, dude, I kind of want to go with Bryce Mitchell here. But here's the thing, Chad. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. And this is why I haven't just gone with Bryce. Silva can crack. Silva has power. It's good power. I'm pretty sure he's only won via knockouts or TKOs in the UFC. And the thing is, that's like sneaky power as well. Silva's all playful and shit, and he is able to get caught in these fights. But I'm telling you, dude, Silva it's just sneaky power. Like, he just gets these finishes out of fucking nowhere. I understand the win over Dober was Dr. Stoppage, but he was fucking up Dober. He pieced the hell out of Dober, man, looked great in that first and second round, and what we saw out of the third. I don't know, man. Like, Silva, that's what concerns me and why I think that he's a favorite and why I think he could definitely win this fight. It's because even if Bryce is fucking him up all of the first round or all of the second round and he isn't able to take him out of there and Silva's able to get into that third, he's like, Silva's a fighter where he has the power where he could knock you out in the last 10 seconds of a fight, and it wouldn't be that surprising because Silva's just, that's his vibe, that's his style, man. Yeah, Silva is hittable, but he's clearly going to have the striking advantage in this fight. I don't think he overwhelms guys with a crazy pace or volume, but the thing is, like, he looks so comfortable, man, in there, like, on the feet, and his power is just, it's fucking dangerous. And Mitchell's a guy who, I think his chin is underrated. Like, yeah, he got flatlined by Josh Emmett, but dude, that was a crazy fucking hook. That was a crazy fucking finish, and Emmett's a powerful fucking striker. Now, don't get me wrong, so is Silva. That's where this shit's all fucking tricky, bro, but that's really the only time that Mitchell's really been completely flatlined. I mean, I know he got choked out by Topuria and shit like that, but he's not really getting finished, especially really knocked out. And like, even then, like I said earlier, like, Mitchell's striking, it isn't great, but it's solid enough to where I think he can hold his own against a lot of guys. But with the power of Silva, that concerns me because Silva could just crack Mitchell at any time. Even if Mitchell's dominating the fucking fight, Silva could be able to just crack him, especially if we see a more dialed in Silva, he's less focused on the goofiness or the antics or just having a good fucking time, and he's more just aiming for the finish and aiming to find all the right shots and aiming to take his lights out. That's how I can see Gene Silva getting it done, and that's why I think he's a massive fucking favorite, because he just has the knockout power at his disposal at any time. And Bryce Mitchell is hittable, and he does have kind of, striking isn't on the level of Gene Silva. Both these guys just have that advantage over each other. Like, Bryce has a huge gap on the ground skills compared to to Silva, and I feel like Silva has a pretty big gap in the battle on the feet compared to Mitchell. I don't think as big as like one or the other, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know, man. Bryce just, I feel like, has more weapons here. Like, I feel like relying on the wrestling and relying on all that and like just like being able to take him out via some kind of ground and pounder submission, like I feel like it's gonna be efficient as fuck, dude. But all it takes is one with Silva, man. I'm having such a hard fucking time predicting this one. Oh, I gotta spit out a pick, bro. I gotta spit out a fucking pick. I'm gonna go with Gene Silva. Dude, I really wanna fucking go with Bryce Mitchell, and I swear to God, if he wins, I could have been that guy. I could have been that guy. I could have picked Bryce. I could have made that fucking plus 325 or plus 250, whatever Bryce Mitchell's as an underdog, man. Dude, the reasons why I'm gonna go with Silva, dude, it's just, Mitchell could be able to... Oh my God, dude, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Because, dude, I could so see either guy winning. I don't understand the betting odds on this at all, man. I feel like it should be a lot closer, but... Oh my God. I could totally see it going either way. Like, if Silva wins, I think he's just going to crack him, you know, even if Mitchell's able to get him down, because that's the thing, dude. Mitchell's going to take him down. Mitchell's going to be able to get him down, you know what I mean? And I think the question is, like, is Silva going to be able to get back up or make it to that next round and start it all over again and find that right shot to crack him? I don't fucking know. I'm going to go with Silva, dude. But I swear to God, I could just so see Bryce winning. On paper, I feel like it makes sense for him. Like, he has what it takes. But I just think with Silva, you know, the UFC, they do these kinds of matchups for a reason. And usually they get what they fucking want out of it, you know? And you know if it's going to a decision, even if Bryce won, they're going to rob him. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Gene Silva, man. He really is dangerous to the point to where I don't think he's on the level of like a Baraujo yet or some of the other fighting nerds, but you got to think they're prepping him, man. You got to think they're prepping him with the takedown defense. We saw it against Carlos Prats. That was a big thing. Like, oh, Neil Magny's going to be able to take him down. Or I understand it's just fucking Neil Magny, but at the end of the day, like, that was a big aspect of Prats' game that people were saying, oh, I don't know, these fighting nerds, man. I don't know, man. Baraujo's the only one that's kind of, you know, he can mix it up on the ground. But, dude, you gotta think they're prepping him with the takedown defense. You gotta think they're really drilling that in because they know Rufy, Prats, Silva, these guys are dangerous fucking strikers who are riding a lot of momentum. You gotta assume, like, fighting nerds with the camp of 2024, they got a good team behind them. You gotta fucking assume that they're prepping these guys for that kind of shit. So you know what? I think I just kind of sold myself here. I'm gonna go with Gene Silva. If Bryce wins, it's gonna be so interesting to see what they do with that hot mic or if they even give it to him. But I think he can get it done. I really do. I think the odds are pretty fucking disrespectful here. I think that Silva, though, he has the momentum on his side. He has the striking advantage. He has the power advantage. I think he can crack Mitchell, who is very hittable. And we'll have to fucking see it, man. It's a tough fight to call. I don't fucking understand what the odds are. But moving on, up next now, man, to the co-main event. We got Michael Chandler taking on King of the Hill. God damn it, Bobby Green. Paddy Pimblett. Now, dude, I'm going to be going with Michael Chandler. Dude, I swear to God, y'all, from the second this fight got announced, or even the couple months before when it was like in the works and, you know, Paddy Pimblett was like putting up cryptic tweets where it's just like, see you at the top, blood. And we're like, oh shit, he's fighting Chandler. Like, even since then, I have been confident that I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett. But dude, today, the day I'm recording this, I changed my fucking mind. I'm going to be going with Michael Chandler. Dude, Chandler is a guy who it's so hard to fucking pick him, especially that he's a fucking underdog, man. I picked Chandler to beat Oliveira at 309, which granted that was one of my worst fucking picks of the year. I also had Stipe beating John, okay? It was a rough fucking night of picks, leave me alone. But Chandler, it's just so hard to predict because you know that the skills are there, you know that the power is there, you know that the striking's there, but this guy gets so caught up in the crowd, and you know that the guy is just, he's here to put on a show for the fans. It's a double-edged sword. He's killing his career to win over Uncle Dana and the fans. It's, you know what, I respect it, I can dig it, and it makes me hyped up for his fights, but God, it's so fucking hard to predict, because Chandler just throws fight IQ out the window, and like I said, I had him beating Charles Oliveira, but I'm gonna apply maybe like similar logic I had going into that one for Pimblett. Like, I just think that on paper, like, I understand why a lot of people are going with Pimblett, because Chandler, even though he's got, you know, solid defense against submissions, well, granted, he got fucking tapped out by Poirier of all people, but the guy has solid takedown defense, and he was able to avoid all of Charles Oliveira's big big submission attempts going in at 309. So Chandler's underratedly solid on the ground, especially like on the defensive side of things. I don't think we're really ever going to see him shoot too many takedowns, but Chandler, man, I don't know. When I found out that this fight was a 5-rounder, that was what changed my fucking mind, y'all. Swear to God, because when I thought it was 3 rounds, okay, I was like, you know what, Paddy Pimblett, he's coming off a great win over Bobby Green, who a lot of people were sleeping on Paddy going into that fight. I was very confused why a bunch of people were fucking going with Bobby Green. I think it's just because MMA fans like to fucking think that just because you dislike a fighter or just because they're goofy that they suck at fighting and they're gonna lose. That's not the case, man. That's why you got the Paddy Pimbletts and the Ian Garys that fucking win all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just because you dislike someone doesn't mean they're fucking bad at fighting. And Paddy Pimblett, man, I think that he's starting to gain a lot of respect from the fans. I feel like he went from being like underrated or not talked about at all in terms of like being taken seriously as a future threat to the contenders, but now I feel like over the Bobby Green win, man, god damn it, Bobby, I really feel like now a lot of people are putting respect in him. A lot of people recognize how good the ground game is. A lot of people realize kind of the hype of Paddy, one of the future potential top guys they could have in the lightweight division. But dude, I think that Pimblett is good on the ground. I think he's been making great improvements in the striking. I think that, yes, he did fucking lose to Jared Gordon, and that was a robbery, but I think he's looked good since. He's been racking up good wins since, and I think that the Jared Gordon fight, like, even though he did lose that and they gave him the robbery, like, I think it's a lesson for him. Like, I think he could learn a lot from that fight, and I think he did. I think he took a good amount of time after, looked great against Ferguson and Green, and granted, not the craziest opponents, but it's fucking something, and he's moving up the rankings slowly but surely, and I think that Chandler, it's a logical next step. Like I said, Pimblett's been improving a lot in the striking. He's got good cardio. He's able to hang. The dude could take a punch. The grappling is dangerous. But at the end of the day, Chandler was able to not get... If you ask me how I think Paddy Pimblett's going to win this fight, okay, I would say 1, he either wins a decision for 3 rounds, or 2, he's able to get a submission. Dude, the reason why I'm going to be going with Chandler is because when I saw that, this fight was 5 rounds, it just gives Chandler more time to get that fucking knockout. And I don't think he's going to be as patient and technical as he was as the first 4 rounds of the Oliveira fight. I think he's going to get the fuck after it against Pimblett and really test his chin and really test if he can hang with the high pace. Like, I think with Pimblett's, having less experience and this being, his first really big test, in Chandler. And for Chandler, he's fighting down now. He's fighting not only down in the rankings, but he's facing, you could argue, a significant step down in competition, man. Like, he's going from facing Oliveira, Poirier, and Gaethje, and now he's facing Pimblett. And I think that Pimblett is good. I think Pimblett can go far. Like I said, I had Pimblett winning this fight until fucking today, but I just think if Chandler is able to look solid against Gaethje, or arguably win the damn fight if he took him more seriously in that 3rd round, besides, showboat and all that bullshit. But, he does what he does for the fans. This is the problem with Chandler, but also what we love about Chandler. It's fucked up. It's fucking retarded. But so not only is Chandler facing technically down in competition, man, but he was able to win the 5th round of all things and almost took out Oliveira in that 5th round, but he wasn't able to get submitted by Oliveira, who was fucking pretty much had him on the ground for a lot of that fight. And still, man, like, Oliveira, even though he's being pretty patient and technical with it, he was looking for the finish. He even almost had Chandler a couple of times in some really dangerous spots, but Chandler was able to survive. And when I'm looking at the grappling of Charles Oliveira versus the grappling of Paddy Pimblett, I would feel like Charles Oliveira is not only the better finisher down there, but also just the better jiu-jitsu artist, the better grappler in general. Paddy Pimblett, again, he's good down there, but if Chandler was able to fend off Oliveira for that whole fight on the ground, and then the 5th round of all things is able to just go and almost knock him out, I think that that's fucking worrisome for Paddy, dude. Because when you're giving him 5 rounds, like if this was 3 rounds, I could see Paddy, able to kind of, outscore him, even if it is a decision or maybe get a submission. I don't know, but you're giving more time for Chandler to just drown Pimblett in a heavy pace that he's not fucking used to, and just land massive shots on Pimblett that he might not be fucking used to. And just, if Pimblett's able to get Chandler down, I do think Pimblett will be able to get Chandler down, but what is he going to do with it, or how efficiently is Chandler going to get back up? That's the fucking question. Like, I understand that he really couldn't get back up too much from Oliveira, but dude, Oliveira, I think there are levels here, and I think that Pimblett maybe one day can get to the level of Oliveira on the ground, but dude, right now, man, I just think that Chandler knows that he can't afford another loss. I think that he knows that he's stepping down in competition. He knows he has a lot of time to work, a lot of time to figure out Paddy, a lot of time to land that right shot, and a lot of time to drown him and overwhelm him. Like I said, Paddy has just been improving a lot in the striking, kind of accepting a lot more of the patience and technicality side of things. He's, very comfortable in there, either playing out a decision or taking out somebody in a 1st round fucking finish. So Pimblett, we've seen a lot of improvements for him, just gaining experience and just like going through these ups and downs and just like the improvements in the striking and the cardio and just the IQ, and we know how good the grappling is. But dude, Chandler, it's just, he's been around the fucking block. I think that Pimblett, yeah, he has a good chin, and yeah, he could take some nice shots. I just don't think he's experienced somebody with the power of Chandler though, or the explosivity, or just, I just don't think that Paddy Pimblett has fought anyone that's quite on the spectrum, all right, to where Michael Chandler is. And I think that Chandler's gonna throw everything he's fucking got. He can't afford to lose here, man. And I'm not even like, listen, I really respect Chandler's fighting style. I respect that he puts on a show for the fans, but I'd be lying if I said I was like a real big fan of the dude. Like, I don't really fuck with the dude's shtick or personality or whatever, but dude, and again, it's so hard to pick these fights with him, but at the end of the day, I think I could see Chandler getting like a crazy just kind of knockout win and just putting himself completely back on the map, and then losing 4 more exciting fights until he has to fight down in the rankings again, or he's fucking 50 years old or some bullshit. Very tough fight to predict. Again, Paddy is a very good pick here. I think that Paddy is a very underrated fighter, and I think I've been riding this Paddy shit, dude. Like, I haven't just started saying this. Like, I didn't understand, well, I understood why, but I thought that the shit on Paddy, he was getting way too much of it, especially when they were talking about just his fighting skills alone. I really didn't understand it. Like, the dude is a good fighter, but I don't know, man. I just think this is one of those fucking just weird ass situations, bro. I think that Paddy's gonna get caught, man. I think if Paddy wins, it's gonna be decision, and I just don't know if he's gonna be able to get. Listen, like, Paddy can rack up some good submissions. He's got good entries, but dude, we'll see if he's able to land those big shots and survive the storm. We'll fucking see it. I don't know. I think Chandler's gonna bring it more so than he did in that Oliveira fight, realizing the situations, realizing the opponents, realizing all that shit. Moving on, up next to, y'all feel that? I swear to God, yo, this is why YouTube will never pay. Alexander the Great, baby, yeah! Main event time, taking on Diego motherfucking Lopes. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the highly anticipated main event. Whether you're a Volk hardcore, whether you're a hardcore for the sport, whether you're a casual, a super Saiyan casual, whatever the fuck, I feel like all MMA enjoyers can come together to appreciate Volkanovski versus Lopes, okay? Listen, I mean, clearly I made it fucking known by now, Volkanovski, only motherfucker I got a t-shirt for, my favorite fighter on the roster, and I'm rooting for him hard. I haven't seen him fight in a long time, man. I'm extra pumped for this. It's a winnable fight for him, but it's a fucking scary one, okay? My pick here, straight away, I mean, I'll keep it real, it is Volkanovski, but it's hard for me because I don't want bias to be a part of it, man. For as much as I love Volkan, I want him to be able to reclaim it. You know, the greatest comeback in UFC history, you know? I'm the type of guy, just don't sit well with me. Volkanovski, I want to see it so bad. Is it great for pay-per-view numbers? Is it great for the division? I don't give a fuck, okay? Just seeing him completely make a comeback for his career, his legacy, his mental fucking sanity, for Christ's sake. But Volkanovski, man, he has all of the tools to get it done, but there's just so many things that worry me in this fight because Diego Lopes is going to be dangerous as fuck for him, alright? Very Charles Oliveira-esque in style. He's very explosive, relentless. He's well-rounded, a lot of pop behind his shots, you know what I mean? And a dangerous jiu-jitsu base. So when you're comparing that to Volkanovski, who has been through, yeah, a lot of championship experience, high-level fights, but there's a chin question. We're questioning, you know, how is his mentality? We're questioning, is he going to be the same in there? We're questioning a lot of things with Volkanovski. And honestly, I haven't really been this 50-50 on a fight or back and forth on a fight since about Jiri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. That was a fight with so many intangibles, and I was going so back and forth, all right, like, I wanted to go with Jamal, but there was something about Yair, and obviously, like, it was very 50-50, and the betting odds showed it, but the betting odds here are very generous to Volk, and also something that's different, a lot of people really think that Volk's gonna take this one. I don't like how people are talking about it, man. Like, yes, I want to see Volk reclaim the belt, but everyone's talking about, you know, oh, Volk's the favorite, oh, Volk's gonna go out there, man, and like, he is the clear better fighter. Lopes isn't anywhere near the high-level competition that Volk's faced. He's getting the belt back, guys. He's getting the belt back for sure. It's a lock. It's not a lock, y'all. I wish it fucking was. I wish it was some fucking jabroni and Volkanovski was a minus 400 favorite. Well, honestly, I really don't. It wouldn't be that much of a fun fight, to be honest. At least there's a lot to fucking talk about, a lot to think about fucking clearly. I swear to God, y'all, at work, the past couple of weeks, it pops up so damn much. It's Volk Lopes. Because you think about, like, is the chin of Volk going to be able to take it? Similar to the Prochazka and Hill situation. You want to fucking talk about that. A big factor, a big intangible going into that one was how is Prochazka's chin after the brutal Pereira rematch. And we saw that it was able to hang in there because Prochazka is that type of motherfucker. He is built different. And honestly, it got me thinking, Volkanovski's built different. If there's any fighter that can beat the 35-year-old curse, these motherfuckers are 0-15 at 170 and under for title fights. And Volkanovski, he can be the one to break that curse. He is someone who, if anything, we've seen from his career, his fights, who he is as a person, from cooking with fucking Volk, we know if there's any kind of fighter that can do that and break a record and just make some fucking history and do something just in the midst of all the chaos in the fucking world, all right, a Volkanovski, nothing wrong with if Lopes wins, but a Volkanovski title run, man, to reclaim that and finish his story like some Cody Rhodes shit. It'd be fucking great to see. You have to look at a guy like Yuri Prochazka and you have to look at a guy like Volk. Like, these are just 1 in a billion kind of motherfuckers. And I think that Volkanovski, he has the skill set to do it, because let's look at Lopes, okay? Yeah, some people kind of question the cardio or whatever, but honestly, I think that he gets over shit on that department. Like, I think a big reason of why people say Lopes is gassed out, they look at the Evloev fight and they look at the Dan Ige fight. And I think the Evloev fight, 4 or 5 days notice, someone like that, and he put on a great performance, but yeah, he did gas out, you know what? And then you have the Dan Ige fight where he was gassed out a bit as well, and that was, I think more so just the cutting of all the weight up and down and the change of like 3 opponents in like however many hours or days or whatever the fuck. So I think that people just really dwell on that shit, you know what I mean? Like, even in the Ortega fight, I get he wasn't looking crazy as the fight was progressing, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he went out there and look what he did to Ortega. You want to talk about that? He went out there and he fucking whooped him, knocked him down a couple of times, and Ortega has a good chin. He's very fucking durable, and Ortega, here's the thing though, was able to hang in there. Like, yeah, he got knocked down a couple of times, but at the end of the day, he made it to the bell. You gotta question if Volkanovski's chin, okay, is gonna be able to take the hardest shots that Lopes has to offer. If he's able to get back up, that's the question, because is Volkanovski gonna get knocked down? Yeah, I probably, and that's scary as a guy who's picking Volk, all right? I'm not fucking staying away from this for betting, all right? I'm not touching this fucking fight. I'm not touching a lot of fights in this card. It's fucking dangerous with this one, bro, but Volk really does say that if there's any way to kind of beat him right now, or just in general, you gotta crack him. And with the Makhachev rematch off the couch, and with fucking Ilia Toporia's insane power, and the quick turnaround, like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, Volkanovski, he is beatable. Like, he did lose that Makhachev fight, in my opinion, for as much as I love Volk. Like, I do think that Makhachev won that fight 3-2, but at the end of the day, man, like, Volkanovski, it's just, he's so well-rounded, he's so in it, he's so there, the fight IQ is just always on, the guy has great head movement, footwork, well, head movement, fuck, dude, I mean, he's coming off these back-to-back fucking KOs, but at the end of the day, man, Volkanovski is a clean fucking striker who completely just dictates where he wants the fight to go. He has great cardio to back it up as well. It's hard to get him fucking tired, even after a 5-round war. He's an amazing Valium striker, piecing the fuck out of guys like Max Holloway. He's getting ground and pound TKOs over dangerous strikers like Yair Rodriguez. He's able to survive dangerous close submission attempts from such an elite grappler like Brian Ortega. And you have a guy like Lopes who has all of these fucking factors. He's collected them like infinity stones. He has, good enough grappling to hang in with Brian Ortega. He has dangerous enough striking to be on the level of Yair Rodriguez. He's well-rounded enough to make it a really close fight with a guy who's also well-rounded like Movsar fucking Evloev. So Lopes is a guy that is, if there's 2 guys I think in the division that can beat Volk right now, it's Evloev and Lopes. Do I think Volk beats both of them? Yes. Is it fucking really hard to think about though? Yes, man. And like, can I see myself in another world going with Lopes or Evloev? Yes, but I'm in this one, and I just feel like Volk, it's just on paper. And it's hard with these situations where you're looking at things on paper, because sometimes you got to focus a little bit off the paper and look at the reality of the situation. But I'm going to justify that what I was saying earlier when I was saying I think Volk is just going to be that built different motherfucker. And I'm going to trust that his chin is going to be all right to hang with Lopes' biggest blows. But if we're looking, like I said, on paper, Volkanovski is probably the better fighter here. Like, his striking is just more precise. You could argue the more technical fighter here, but also he's just an insane amount of Valium he puts on guys. Like Lopes, don't get me wrong, great striking as well, and he definitely has the power advantage here, a bit more dangerous with the finishing ability. But at the end of the day, you could argue Lopes kind of relies a bit more so on combinations. Like, yeah, he has a lot of fucking power. He's able to get guys fucking down, and he's trying to keep you down there. But at the end of the day, look at the Sedriques Youssef knockout. Like, he was able to kind of, rock him down a couple of times and all in one round and eventually take him out of there. But it wasn't a complete flatline Pereira over Strickland kind of KO. Like, it was a bit of a build-up that led to the KO. And Brian Ortega, you know what I mean? Like, he knocked him down a couple times and almost sent him out of there. But at the end of the day, Ortega was able to hang in there because he's durable enough. If Volkanovski is going to be durable enough, I think even though he's getting up there in age, I think his skill set is still going to be there. I think his speed is still going to be there. And it's risky, man. You don't know with this because Lopes, again, he is good enough. Like, is he going to be shooting takedowns of Volkanovski Volkanovski, maybe, but I think that he's aware that his best chances of winning this fight is going to be a battle on the feet. And clearly, I think in those first couple of rounds, like, I'm sure that Lopes, he's training for this shit, all right? This is a great fucking lifetime opportunity for him. I'm sure he's training to go 5 rounds. But at the end of the day, I do think that obviously his best chances are going to be in rounds 1, 2, maybe 3. You know, he'd be able to still take Volk out of there. But I feel like, I mean, technically Lopes is the kind of fighter, he really could knock you out in the last 10 seconds of a 5-rounder. And it shouldn't be that surprising. He has the power and kind of technically the experience to do it. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to see, man. Like, how's Lopes' cardio? Can it hang? Or is Volk just going to take over and take him in deep waters? Or is Volk's chin going to be there? Is he mentally going to be there? He looks in great fucking both these guys look in great fucking shape. You could tell they're fucking ready for this. But it's a really high level fight, man. Like, Evolev's going to be next. He's taking on fucking the Bellator guy. I'm going to sound like a fucking casual. I'm so sorry. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll take the jabroni allegations. But yeah, so that's being made. But at the end of the day, Evloev is pretty much getting. Both these guys said if they win the belt, they're going to be calling out Evloev next. And I think that's pretty fucking fair. For as much as I think Evloev as champion sounds like a goddamn nightmare, I gotta admit, like, the guy is clearly fucking next for the belt. He's on a good fucking win streak right now. Even though he's a fucking decision merchant, he's clearly next. So there's something next for these guys. I think it's gonna be a great fucking fight. If Volkanovski wins, I think it's gonna be a late, maybe like 3rd, 4th, 5th round. God damn it, Bobby. It's going to be like a 4th or 5th round TKO, maybe some ground and pound. Or I think maybe like a 49-46 decision. If Lopes wins, I think 2nd round KO. 2nd round KO. Maybe 3rd. Maybe Volk gets a little too confident. Something like that. Who the fuck knows? There's so many different fucking situations for this fight. It's like the Doctor Strange looking in the fucking multiverse, twitching all around, trying to figure out what's going to happen. That's me for this fight, dude. I really don't know. A lot of outside factors here, but at the end of the day, skill for skill-wise, Volk, even like I was trying to say earlier, I didn't even finish this goddamn point, but if Lopes really did want to try and take the fight to Volkanovski, I think his submission defense and just his overall takedown defense, everything, his just ground game is so fucking dangerous. Especially defensively, to be honest. Like, yeah, he can get all after it with the takedowns, really dominate guys down there. Volkanovski has great fucking ground and pound. It's dangerous at the end of the day, but I feel like Lopes is not going to be able to take out Volkanovski by sub here. He knows that, I mean, maybe if it's like, if his cardio's there and if he puts on an insane pace and pressure that we know Lopes can do, if he maintains it, maybe he could beat Volk by a decision, but I feel like knockout's the way to go here. But submission, I don't think, even with as good as Lopes' ground game is, it's more so of a really nice thing to have in the tool bag for this fight, more so than a weapon to take out Volk. Like, he's going to want to knock him on the feet. It's more so that, like, he maybe can get him to the ground. Maybe he can lock something in. But at the end of the day, Volk is just, if Makhachev isn't going to be able to do anything to Volk, or is rarely going to be able to take him down, I think that says a lot about the ground game of Volkanovski. Again, both these guys well-rounded as fuck, dangerous as fuck. Lopes is in his prime. Volkanovski is shy after it. Like, Lopes, this is a lifelong dream he wants to chase for the first time. And Volkanovski, it's a comeback story of a lifetime. I'm gonna go with Volkanovski, man, but it's so hard to predict. I swear to God, y'all, I literally have been so fucking back and forth on this fight. I know I'm really rooting for Volk here, but it's a hard one. I'm genuinely nervous as fuck with this one. It's probably, for me personally, and this is where the fan in me comes in, the most nerve-wracking fight I've had personally since of 2025. It's fucking, it's a great card in general, man. Which, leading into this one, Tran fucking Zishin here, like some Fantano shit. The blank of the card, ladies and gentlemen. We try to do this for every predictions video over here. We have the underdog of the card, we have the locks of the card, we have the wild card of the card, and we have the card rating. All self-explanatory pretty much, but I'll get to it when I get to it. So just starting with the underdog of the card. Which underdog pick am I the most confident in that I made here, man? I mean, honestly, I picked a few. I usually don't pick too many underdogs. I'm solid this year at picking the ones that are kind of like under plus 200. Like, I've actually doing pretty good, getting at least one of them every fight night, but or pay-per-view, whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, I picked Tresean, Gore, and Michael Chandler, which I'm not confident in at fucking all, to be honest. And I have Dan Ige, who I'm going to pick here. I'm actually pretty solidly confident that Dan Ige is going to win this one, man. He's sitting right now at a plus 135 underdog, and I feel like that might get bigger, might stay the same, whatever the fuck. It was just a pick 'em fight a couple of days ago. But I'm pretty solidly confident in this pick. Like, it's something that, if I didn't look at the betting odds, if you asked me what I thought of Ige versus Woodson, I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to fucking go with Ige. I think he has all the tools legitimately to get it done. And Woodson, for as good as he is beatable. So, moving on to the locks of the card, man. This is tough, because this is like such a fucking fight night full of hard fights to predict, man. Like, every fight on the main card, I can genuinely see going either way. I seemed like I was confident in the Krylov win. Dude, I could totally fucking see Reyes. Look at me. I yapped, I should say, about Mitchell versus Silva, longest fight I talked about for the card. And it's just like, Silva's at a minus 300. It's just like, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, these fights are so hard to predict. Even a lot of the ones on the prelims, Ige, Woodson, whatever the fuck. It's so hard to say if I had any locks, okay? It's a term I'm not going to try and use lightly here, but if I had to pick any locks to the card, it'd probably be Julian, Erosa, and Chase Hooper. If there's any, it'd probably be those two. Those are the picks I'm the most confident in, man, if we're going to declare it as a fucking lock. Like, I'm pretty confident in some other ones as well, but a lot of them are too fucking scary, or I'm too on the edge, or I could see it going either way. So, and these are the best cards to have, honestly, especially if we had Protz versus Neil in here. Like, these are literally the best kinds of fights to have. You want to have 50-50 fights. It's fucking exciting. Moving on to the wild card of the card. So basically somebody who is being very either overlooked or can really shake up the division or the rankings or just the state of the UFC. Like, it'd be a great, like, holy shit, like, this guy fucking won. Now everything's kind of shook up a little bit. That's what the wild card of the card is. So most famously, we picked Merab Dvalishvili for UFC 311 here, but I'm going to be going with Patricio fucking Pitbull. I really think, I almost put like Dominick Reyes here or like Bryce Mitchell, some shit like that, but I really think that if Pitbull wins, like, that really is a division kind of shake up. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many new matchups. It says a lot for title implication. Well, I hope not, but hopefully another one after that. But at the end of the day, I would get it, man. Looking at the state of the division or whatever the fuck's going on after Evlev, Bellator guys coming in now, coming for title shots. Very interesting turn of the tide for the division ever since Taporia left, man. But Patricio Pitbull, I'm going to put him as the wild card of the card. It would introduce a lot of new matchups, and to be able to beat Rodriguez, I'd rate that fairly highly, man. Like, I don't think Rodriguez is the craziest talent we've ever seen, but it's a fairly fucking good win, and it's a good top 5 entry. So moving on now to the card rating. What do I think of this bad boy from a 1 to a 10, man? I'm giving it an 8.5, man. It's good. I think if Neil versus Protz was still on here, it'd be a 9 out of 10. But I just think that some of the early prelims are kind of lacking here. I think you have to kind of wait until Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller to kind of really get going. Once you get to Hooper versus Miller, I feel like that's a great fight, and then we have great fight. But I'm stuttering over my fucking self. It's a lot of good matchups and good matchmaking after that. So I'm giving this an 8.5. It's arguably card of the year, man. I mean, if I'm viewing 5 as like an average, 10 being as perfect as it gets, and 0 being as worse as it gets, 8.5, man. It's a great fucking card. Arguably card of the year. So thank you guys so very much for making it this far into the video, man. I really, really appreciate y'all. If you guys can help me get to 1,000 subscribers, I'd really fucking appreciate it. But regardless, I just appreciate y'all for watching, man. All the smoke MMA here, man. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Let me know your predictions, your picks, your thoughts of the video in the comments below. I'd love to fucking hear it. Thank you guys for the support and just listening in general, man. We're just here to talk some MMA. So all the smoke here. Hope you guys have a good fucking time watching the fights this weekend, man. Enjoy your beer, enjoy your joints. Whether you're with your boys or you're by yourself, fucking enjoy the fights, fellas. So appreciate y'all out, man. Uncle Smoke here, and I will see you guys next time.